Hello everyone, I'm Daryl Heath with UA Little Rock's College of Arts, Letters, and Sciences. Welcome to the night sky. A good meteor shower is always worth getting excited about, but for many people, all they have to show for their observing efforts are some mosquito bites and a bit of crankiness due to lack of sleep. There's a bit of an art to observing meteor showers, and I'm going to share with you some tips on how to get the most out of them. Before we go any further, however, let's do a quick review. Meteors are the streaks of light that you can see on just about any given night throughout the year and are caused by tiny grains of dust burning up in the Earth's atmosphere. These occasional meteor sightings are known as sporadics. Most of this dust has its origins with comets that pass through the inner solar system and which get heated up by the sun. As they warm up, their ices vaporize and they leave in their wake long streams of dust particles. Whenever the Earth's orbit intersects one of these dust streams, we get to see a meteor shower. Now, just as any hunter can tell you knowing about the habits of your quarry can help determine how successful you are in the field, the same applies to meteor showers. No two are exactly the same. They differ in a number of fundamental details. So, find a good, useful source of information on meteor showers and read up on them. Websites like EarthSky and the American Meteor Society are good places to start. You can also pick up magazines like Sky and Telescope or Astronomy Magazine to learn about the month's best offerings. Here are a few of the more pertinent details you need to focus on for any given meteor shower. 1. Know the peak nights and the peak times. It's a common misconception that a meteor shower happens on a single night of the year. In reality, they're often spread out over several nights. Generally speaking, there's a curve of activity that can be seen over a certain period of time. Initially, meteor numbers are below that of sporadic meteor background rates. Then, as the Earth approaches the meteor stream, there's a steady uptick in shower numbers. As the Earth travels through the densest portions of the stream, there's a sudden peak in numbers, followed by a slow decline as the Earth exits the stream. How long the peak lasts varies from one shower to the next. January's quadrantid meteor shower has a peak that lasts for only a few hours, while November's southern torrid meteor shower has a broad maximum spread out over several days. Be aware that the predicted peak dates and times may not always favor the area on the globe you happen to be living in during any given meteor shower. Some years, for some showers, it might be the folks in Eastern Europe or Asia who are supposed to see the most meteors, while those of us here in North America are, well, left in the dark. Other times, we get the best views, and it's the folks on the other side of the globe who are seeing diddly. Now, in some of your sources, you might see the peak times listed in Coordinated Universal Time, or UTC. This is the time standard used around the world, and it's the basis of our civil time. UTC does not acknowledge time zones, but because we all live in them, you're going to have to do a little bit of math in order to translate it. For those of us in Central Daylight Time, subtract 5 hours from the given UTC. If it's Central Standard Time, subtract 6 hours from the listed UTC. For all others, you might want to consult the internet to translate UTC into your time zone. Number 2, know the zenithal hourly rate and then be prepared to adjust your expectations. Every meteor shower has its own zenithal hourly rate. All this means is that it's the potential number of meteors you could see per hour during peak times given perfect viewing conditions. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Your source says that you might see 120 meteors per hour on a certain night. You get all excited about seeing this amazing spectacle, and when the time comes, you may only see half of that. What happened? Did you get the time and date wrong? Did the source lie? What's likely happened is the result of a frequently misunderstood bit of meteor shower vocabulary. What people always get wrong about the zenithal hourly rate are that those numbers are all idealized. Those are numbers that you could potentially see given that you had absolutely perfect observing conditions. Unfortunately, having those perfect conditions are extraordinarily rare, and there's a lot of different variables that are going to undermine your chances of seeing any meteors at all. Some of these variables you can control, others you won't. For example, how dark is your sky? It's a sad reality of stargazing that the insidious effects of light pollution have conspired to not only steal the stars from the sky, but your chances of seeing meteors as well. Because most meteors are rather faint, you will need to find yourself an observing location away from city lights and that offers you the darkest skies possible. A quick way to assess the quality of your local sky is to find the Little Dipper in the constellation of Ursa Minor, the Little Bear. The 7 stars making up the Little Dipper range in brightness from Polaris, the brightest of them, shining at an apparent magnitude of 2, to Alasco, a star making up one of the corners of the Dipper's cup, feebly shining with an apparent magnitude of 5, putting it close to the threshold of naked eye visibility. If you can see all 7 of the Little Dipper stars, then congratulations, you have very dark skies, and your chance of seeing lots of meteors is pretty good. If all you can see is Polaris, then you probably need to get busy finding a better sight. There are some accurate scales available for evaluating just how dark your sky is, and thankfully, you don't have to do the work. Others have done it for you. All you need to do is go online and search for dark sky maps that can help you find the nearest dark sky to your location. A good place to begin is the website for the International Dark Sky Association. If you live here in Arkansas, you're in better luck because we have the Arkansas Natural Sky Association, a state chapter of the International Dark Sky Association. At their website, you will not only find dark sky maps for locations around the state, you'll also find suggested parks to visit for all your stargazing needs. 3. And while we're on the subject of light pollution, keep in mind that there is a natural source for it hanging over our heads for a good part of each month, the moon. During new, crescent, and quarter phases, the moon may not be an issue, but when it's more than half full, the moon's low will be a problem. So you're going to have to check and see what phase the moon is in during the peak times of your favorite meteor shower. If it happens to be in a troublesome phase, don't entirely despair because you can mitigate its effects by working around it. Simply try and find a location that has mountains, tree lines, or even buildings that might block it from view during a shower's peak hours. This strategy won't completely solve the problem, but it might help you see just a few more meteors than you would otherwise. Number 4, you also want to make sure that your location affords you as big a view of the sky as possible. A mountain or hilltop, for example, is going to give you more sky in which to see meteors than would a field at lower elevation, surrounded by trees. 5, know the radiant. If you were to trace back all the meteors you see during a meteor shower's peak, you'll notice that the majority of them seem to converge upon one section of the sky, usually from within the borders of a constellation. This point upon the sky is called the radiant, and most meteor showers derive their name either from that of the constellation the radiant is located in or from a star within the constellation. But here's what you need to know. The time at which the radiant will be at the highest point in the sky. Typically, on a peak night, the radiant begins the evening by being low in the sky, but as the hours pass, it gains altitude as it moves in a westerly direction across the sky, finally culminating at its highest point upon the sky before it eventually sets in the west. If you do happen to know where the radiant is upon the sky, don't focus all your attention in that direction because meteors can be seen in any part of the sky during a shower. And if you've ever wondered why the peak times for most meteor showers occur during the wee hours of the morning, it's because that is often the time that the radiant is at its highest point. Okay, let me impart to you just a few more tips before I go. Once again, I stress that you dial back your expectations. It may be called a meteor shower, but that doesn't mean that they're going to fall from the sky like rain. If you have near perfect conditions and you have a very productive shower like August's Perseids or December's Geminids, then you might see a meteor every minute or two during the peak hours. Or you might not see any. You might stay up for hours and only have a few mosquito bites to show for it. But then again, you might get lucky by being in the right place and the right time and see the show of a lifetime. But if you stay indoors, you won't see any. Be patient. Sometimes there'll be moments when the shower is active and then there's going to be lulls. That's just the way it is. Accept it. Carry along some music to keep yourself entertained during the wait. Let your eyes get dark adapted. This is a process that can take up to an hour to complete. Once your night vision is in perfect working order, you will see more meteors. But if you look at your cell phone, laptop, or other kind of white light, even for a second, then your night vision is ruined, and you're going to need to wait another hour for the process to complete itself again. To avoid this, use a red-filtered flashlight. The longer wavelength of red light is less destructive to your night vision. If you don't have a red flashlight, just tape some red plastic film over a flashlight you have around the house. You can buy red plastic film that's used to repair broken taillights. Get comfortable with a blanket or sleeping bag on the ground, or use a reclining lawn chair. The main thing you want to avoid is straining your neck. Expect to see meteors anywhere on the sky. Don't focus your attention solely on where the radiant is located. Have lots of water and snacks on hand. Something with caffeine in it will be your best friend come 2 a.m. It can get chilly during the wee hours, especially if you're observing from a higher altitude, so be prepared for it. Pack the bug spray, because nothing can ruin a good night out under the stars more quickly than can a swarm of blood-sucking insects. Invite friends and family to join you. Make it a party. Even if you don't see any meteors, you can have spent quality time with people you love. Also, meteor showers can be inexpensive and romantic date nights. Just saying. Okay, that's it for now. I hope that you find this information useful the next time you observe a meteor shower, and you're outside looking up in both awe and wonder.